Well, good day. It's the 3rd of June, 2021. I hope you're having a good day. I am. What I'm going to speak about on this short program, this short podcast, the greatest threat to law enforcement officers. Okay? And you might think it's crazy criminals. You might think it's indifferent public. And those things are a threat. But the biggest threat to your life, it's not the knife and the gun, it's the knife and the fork. Stay tuned. And this is a truism. I mean, I don't care what agency it is, whether it's federal, state, and local, but generally, applicants have to be much more fit than the general population to be accepted in law enforcement. Same thing applies to the military. I mean, most kids who try to join the military, want to join the military, can't because of obesity. I mean, they would have to lose a significant amount of weight. But, for law enforcement, not only do you have a physical, but you have to pass a physical fitness test. And the tests, whether they're given by state and locals, whether they're given by the DEA or the FBI, whether they're given by Customs and Border Patrol, you have to be in good shape to get in, get your foot in the door. Now, once you go to the academy, you're going to go through pretty much in any police academy nowadays, and certainly even the federal academies. It's a pretty brutal physical training program. Okay, and if you make it, you will be in the best shape of your life after graduating the academy. And if you just look at these tests, again, the previous tests, pull-ups, sit-ups in 2 minutes, push-ups in 2 minutes, shuttle run, 2-mile run, all together, that's more than any military test. The current test that they give to applicants and in the academy, push-ups, sit-ups in 1 minute, 300-yard run, 1.5-mile run. One thing that I found interesting, if you've ever seen the HBO series Band of Brothers, it's about it came out a long time ago. For you guys, it's a long time. For me, it's not. The late 90s, okay? But it was about a unit that was being trained, and then it's the men in the unit, and they're undergoing training during World War II, and then they participate in D-Day, and then they participate in fighting in Europe. But they said, like, during the push-ups, the commanding officer, a man named Captain Sobel, he would stop at 20 push-ups because that's all he could do. Now, this is during World War II. A lot of the men coming in, were not in the best shape because they had come through the Depression. They had what we would consider, nutritional problems. But the emphasis on heavy PT was not anywhere near as great back then as it is now. Now, if you could only do 20 continuous push-ups, you wouldn't make it in the military, you wouldn't make it anywhere. But there, he was fine to be a commanding officer of an airborne unit. So that shows that, the emphasis on PT has gone way up. But when we take a look at that, now let's look at this chart, which comes from a 2013 study that was put out on behalf of the International Association of Chiefs of Police and the American Heart Association. And it shows that the average age of a patient for their first heart attack in law enforcement is 49 years of age, whereas a civilian, and civilians are not known to be in shape in this country, it's 65. Okay. Heart attacks under age 45 in law enforcement, among law enforcement officers, 45%. Among civilians, again, the most out of shape people in the world in this country, 7%. The average life expectancy, I've outlived my life expectancy. It's 57 years, it's 79 years for civilians, okay? Now, again, these are to be taken with some caution. These are averages. This doesn't mean that you're going to drop. Look, hey, I'm 61 and I'm still going, and I haven't had a heart attack yet. But the point of it is, while we were on the street, I know a guy who had a heart attack right there, an undercover. He was a heavy smoker. And we were out doing a deal. He said, man, I don't feel good. I think it's the Chinese food. I said, I don't think it's the Chinese food. I think you are about to drop. And we called 911 and they took him off, and he was in the hospital for 30 days, So, it asks, why is this? And again, once a person graduates from the academy, they are less likely to exercise than the general population. Cops are less likely to exercise. Federal agents are less likely to exercise. Now, why is this? Well, number one, here's part of the problem. If they put you through an academy that is a Navy SEAL kind of academy, what are you going to do to get through that academy? You got to eat. Okay, there's no way you're going to run 2 miles in 12 minutes or be able to do pull-ups like, King Kong if you're eating a couple grains of rice a day. You're going to eat 3 full meals a day and maybe more. But your eating continues when you're out. What doesn't continue is your level of physical activity. And once you start to put on weight, you get cells that store fat. And even if you lose that weight, you go on a yo-yo diet or a crash diet, once you stop strictly weighing yourself every day, your weight starts to creep back up. Again, police work, law enforcement is primarily sedentary. The fire department, they have time to do training and PT when they're not working. We got to sit in cars. We're always working. There is no downtime, so to speak. Again, it involves shifts, irregular hours, and going to McDonald's drive-through because you're on surveillance. The job itself is extremely stressful. It's 98, 99% boredom and 1% high anxiety and great stress. Fighting people is stressful. Raiding houses is stressful. Going up against armed suspects is very stressful. And of course, I know not a lot, but a significant number of agents. These are men who have passed psychological exams who took guns to their own heads. One man who was a friend of mine hung himself in the backyard. It's just horrible things. Now, these are people who have passed polygraphs, psychologicals, physicals, PT tests. What is it that drives them to do this? And again, it's the nature of the work. Now, what can be done about this? And now for the good news, and it's all good news, right? What can be done about this? Number one, adhere to a reasonable diet. Measure and keep a record of everything that you eat. Number two, insist on at least an hour of exercise a day. It doesn't have to be real tough exercise, but jogging, even just a long walk will clear your mind. But going home and stuffing your face when you're done working and then going to bed and getting up the next morning or being sleep deprived, that doesn't do it. You have to take time for yourself. So you have to look out for yourself. You're going to have to take time to exercise. You're going to have to take time to eat right because your life literally depends on it. And I care about you, and you should care about yourself, and your loved ones will care about you. Okay? The agency, they don't care too much about you. Okay? So my message, please take care of yourself. Certainly get in shape to pass these tests, but once you've passed these tests, that's just the first hurdle of a long career. And afterwards, I don't want anybody dying when they're in their 60s. I want you to live a long, healthy life. And you can do that. You can do that if you work out, if you eat reasonably, and do things to try to reduce stress. And stay away from alcohol, stay away from tobacco, stay away from anything like that. And live a healthy life. Live long and prosper. Okay? Thank you.